New makeup releases. I'm wearing Julia's Bathsheba house dress. I asked her if I could wear it in a video and she said yes. And I'm really feeling it, especially with this hair. I feel like it's a whole look, but we cannot dally today. This is gonna be new makeup releases hot takes, and these are gonna be the hottest of takes because I haven't prepared and I don't have that much time. In case you haven't seen my last couple of hot takes videos, let me give you the definition of hot takes. But first, let me pull it up on my computer screen. In journalism, a hot take is a piece of deliberately provocative commentary that is based almost entirely on shallow moralizing in response to a news story, in this case a beauty news story, usually written on tight deadlines, definitely, with little research or reporting and even less thought. I think all of that's going to be true about today's video. So I'm gonna give you my hot takes on new makeup, new to the market. If this is your new time to my first channel, if this is your first time to my channel and you're new, then hello, I'm so glad you're here. My name's Hannah. I love beautiful things. I enjoy following what's new to the market in makeup, but I try not to buy too much. So in these hot takes videos, a lot of times I'm like talking about why I'm not gonna buy something and, you know, maybe helping you talk yourself out of buying them too. So if that kind of makeup content sounds good to you, I hope you will subscribe right now. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. All right, reverse chronological order? That's right, yeah, reverse chronological order, meaning like we're starting with what's at the top, and I'm just gonna go back in time until I can't film anymore. The first thing is a cream blush, a new cream blush release. I bet that has shook you. Nobody's releasing cream blush these days. I bet that has shaken you. Is that what you say? I bet that has shaken you. JK, everyone's releasing cream blush, including Dominique Cosmetics. My hot take on this is that when blushes are coming out, I'm always just looking for like the palest of the pale neutral. So I'm always looking for like the Clinique Nude Pop, which is what I'm wearing on my cheeks right now. I have been really into powder blush. I just finished filming. The reason I don't have much time is because I spent a really long time filming a Get Ready With Me for my patrons, talking about my ring and the whole story. I talked in that video about the fact that everyone's like coming out with cream blushes and finally the whole world is on the cream blush train and I have like pivoted to powder blushes. I'm like back into powders. Where was I going with this? This is like a hot rambling take. Traditionally, when a brand releases cream blushes, I look at them and I'm like, oh, cream blush, be still my heart, I love cream blush. But does this range have a very, very pale neutral blush or neutral brown, like a pale milk chocolate, because that's all that I've ever wanted. And this range does not. But when I looked at it, the thing that really got my heart double beating is this, like, what are they calling it? The rose colored one, but I feel like it's sort of like a coral, that like bright corally rose that you feel like is gonna give you that creamy sunburned look that I live for. The one that's all the way on the right in the product shop where the three of them are lined up, I'd buy that. I'm not going to because I have enough blush and I definitely have enough cream blush. I've never reviewed Dominique Cosmetics and it doesn't necessarily feel like something that people are clamoring to see me review. But if I like saw it and I touched it and I loved it and I had some budget, I'd buy that. Lancome has come out with a new foundation and the lightest shade does look like it could be my color. I have had pretty good success with Lancome products. I used to use this is like the Tinty Doll foundation. It says a hydrating, lightweight, full coverage concealer. That does sound great to me. I have had good success actually with the Tint Doll camouflage color corrector, the green one. So this is tempting to me. I'm not gonna buy it. The other thing is I love concealer. I have like 3 or 4 concealers and that's like my main gig on my face. I love concealer. I like Lancome. I like fancy stuff. I've used Tinty Doll. It's worked well. I like things that are hydrating, lightweight, and full coverage for concealer. And so I don't know, I saw it and I was like, there's nothing about it that's making me go like, oh no, this isn't for me, except for the fact that I'm not in the market for concealer. I don't need a concealer. So I'm not gonna buy it, but it looks nice. I like the looks of it. And that's not always the case with me and new makeup releases, and that's my hot take. The Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette. Of course I'm not gonna buy this because if ever there was something that was dupable. I mean, it's kind of interesting because what it's called is major dimension. And I get the sense that they're pushing texture. It's like beautiful textured warm neutral. So the idea is that even if you do have these colors, maybe you don't have this variety of texture. It's kind of like a little version of like the Tati's palette, you know? Like, I feel like that was the idea behind Tati's palette. It's like all about different textures of the same color. And this is like it's like an edit of that sort of. I was really into that idea when Tati came out with that palette. I was really into that idea and I duped the vibes of that entire palette. This, it does make me kind of, I mean, I feel like I duped the vibes of it today when in the Get Ready With Me that I filmed for Patreon. It's like, this is that, right? But I just used a Natasha Denona shadow that I have, and I used this Danessa Myricks Color Fix foil. Honestly, this is exactly this. I feel like I have already duped the vibes. So that's my hot take on this. It's like, I like it and it's very beautiful, but I think that at this point, my sense is that people who love makeup, I don't know, if this had come out 2 years ago, people would have been like, oh, Escandalo, it's all I've ever wanted. But I feel like people who love makeup have gone beyond having collected all of the neutral palettes and not needing any more neutral palettes to only wanting neutral palettes that offer a variety of textures and collecting some of those. Beyond even that to not even needing that anymore because we've all been in the game for so long. That could just be how I feel. It might just be how I feel about me and some of you maybe. But that's how I feel about this as my hot take. Harry Styles, this is one of those things where Trend Mood is like, Harry Styles has copyrighted a term. And so we can look forward to like a full makeup line. It's some sort of sleuthy business over here. I don't really know anything about, was Harry Styles in One Direction? Is that right? I think Harry Styles was a member of One Direction, but I might be wrong. I don't know anything about Harry Styles clearly, but he looks fierce. Not knowing anything about him, when I was scrolling through Trend Mood and I saw this picture of him in like a black leather suit with a full length green fur boa and then this fur coat and then these nails. I mean, this entire collage right here, I was like, I'd buy makeup from that man. Like I'm like, go for it, Harry. Like do whatever you're gonna do because I live. But that's my entire hot take. I don't know anything about anything except I looked at this imagery and I lived. New shades of Lidstar from Glossier. This stuff got such bad reviews. Did they reformulate it too? Because I feel like unless they reformulated it, what are they doing with their lives to come out with new shades? The shades look pretty. It's like a champagne and a bronze, but sometimes people click through my like Glossier referral link. It's like if you click through it, you get a discount and I get store credit. So I intermittently go to Glossier and I see that I have a little bit of store credit and I'm like, should I review anything? Like, should I buy anything to try it so I can review it on my channel? And the reviews of Lidstar were so bad that even with credit, basically I don't even want it for free. Even with credit on the Glossier website, I've never been tempted to pick up one of these because the reviews were so bad that I don't even want a free one. I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm not excited that they came out with new colors. Becca has released another product even though the brand is closing. Like they have announced that they as a brand are dissolving. Becca will be no more. And on the way out, they've released another product. It does look very beautiful. I mean, it says iridescent one-of-a-kind highlighter inspired by opal. Is it opal? Is it just opal? Is this the first time a brand has okay, so what they've done is they've released a thing inspired by the same thing that they already released. Like, have we heard of that before? Can you cite another example? I mean, I do understand it when a brand is like our shade, like our particular shade of red has done really well. So now we're releasing like nail polish that's inspired by our lipstick shade. You know what I mean? Like if it's a different product, but they're like, we have a powder highlight and a compact called Opal, which is a pale champagne. And we're releasing a powder compact highlighter that is inspired by Opal. It's like, if it's inspired by Opal, why don't you just have Opal? Like, is it Opal? Iridescent one-of-a-kind highlighter. Well, it says it's one of a kind, so it must not be Opal. What are they doing? But what are they doing? Here's my hot take. My hot take is, what are they doing? But also I kind of want it. Because an iridescent highlighter inspired by Opal sounds good to me, but I'm not gonna buy it. Everybody's doing cream blush. Makeup by Mario is now in Sephora. I've never really been compelled by Makeup by Mario, and I don't think that it's just because I don't really know Mario and I don't really follow him and I don't really follow Kim Kardashian and I'm not aware, you know? It's not just my lack of awareness of that has made me not interested in Mario's makeup. Because sometimes a brand or a person that I don't know, or where I'll like be a person who doesn't have all the tea about something, then that person will come out with makeup. I don't know if that sentence made sense, but you see what I'm saying? Sometimes a person that I don't know or care about will come out with makeup and I'll be like, I want it. I want to try it. It's beautiful. I'm compelled by it simply because it's beautiful. In this case, it's like Mario did have a chance. If Mario's makeup had been really beautiful to me and felt original and gripped me, I wouldn't have cared that I don't care about Mario. But that's not the case, and that's my hot take. I mean, the cream blush sticks look beautiful, but none of the colors actually even compels me. Like none of them does to me what that rose shade from Dominique Cosmetics did to me. Just scrolling through, you guys, when I do this, I just sit here scrolling through, shaking my head because there's all this stuff I don't want to talk about. What is Norvina doing with this purple palette that looks exactly like, I feel like there was another, not only is it like the Norvina palette, was that the original Norvina? What was the one, the purple one? The original purple ABH palette is like on overdrive here, but it's this thing where you look at a palette like this and it's like, gosh, that palette really could use an edit. It would really be great if someone took this and edited it down to just a regular 12 pan. But that exact palette, a 12 pan that looks exactly like this, has already been released by ABH a couple of years ago. I think that was like the first time I ever duped the vibes. That was the genesis of the term duping the vibes. Yeah, it was the Norvina, the original Norvina palette, that purple 14, the purple 14 pan palette from ABH, the Norvina palette. I can't remember if it was during my no buy year or the following year, but I didn't want to buy it. I wasn't going to buy it for sure. So I decided to not dupe the palette, but to dupe the vibes of the palette on my eyes. I think it was during my no buy year. And so that was the first time that was when I coined the phrase duping the vibes. And now it's like, if you duped the vibes, here's what I have to say. If you duped the vibes of the Norvina, whatever this is called, I feel like you would only ever get an eyeshadow look that you could also get using the original 14 pan Norvina palette. It just feels so redundant and so dated even only within the realm of what ABH has released. I just can't. We're moving on. Huda Beauty isn't really a brand that I've been after. They've released a glowy foundation, and I know people really love their complexion products. I've been a little more into complexion products lately. And so the Glow Wish Multi-Dew Skin Tint Foundation does sound vaguely alluring. Like I'll follow its future career with a modicum of interest. But the packaging looks so cheapy peepy to me. It doesn't look poorly designed such that it's repellent, but it looks so cheapy peepy. It really looks like physician's formula. This entire thing, the powders and the squeezy tubes, it all looks very, very drugstore. It's like Huda Beauty, but make it drugstore. I never talk about Jaclyn Cosmetics or Jaclyn Hill. I don't really feel like talking about Jaclyn Hill on my channel, but she has turned it with these promo photos for her cream. I passed when I was clicking back the cream blush collection that she's come out with. I didn't mention it because it's just like, well, I guess I'm mentioning it now. My hot take is just that it's the same. I would be saying the same thing about it that I've said about everything cream. It's like, oh, XYZ is hopping on the cream blush train. I love cream blushes, but none of these colors call to me. It doesn't seem like she's doing anything that's different from what everyone else who's hopping on the cream blush train is doing. So I just decided to save us all the trouble and skip it. But now going back in history, I've come to the promo photos for that collection with this like curly hair and like the blush draping. And I think it's outside of her usual realm. It's veering a little bit into artistry, a little bit into costume, a little bit into like drag effect. It's not her same like super overlined dark eye with the really, really dark smoke, like dark black and orange smoky eye that makes her eyes look really tiny, and like the exact same like neutral lip. And she looks very different. The styling is very different. It's stylized. I thought we were only gonna ever see the same thing from her, the same exact makeup and the same exact styling, the same exact aesthetic year after year after year forever, for the next like 50 years. But something's happened. It's like she's gotten a new stylist or something. Doesn't make me want to buy anything from the collection or anything like that. I took note and I decided to give you my hot take, and that's what it was. Here's a cream blush that's kind of got me. Armani. Look at those 3 colors across the top. How much is this? I scrolled down and the first thing I see is that Simbri has tagged me. Thanks, girl. Yeah, you knew. It doesn't say how much it is, but it's probably wildly expensive. Multi-use color balm in 9 different shades. I don't traditionally like a balm. I don't really like a balmy cheek. If it's a really pigmented balm and it has a finish that isn't quite what you think of when you think of balm, then I might continue to be interested. But if this really is a balm, then I'm saved and I don't need to like stress about whether I will review it or buy one for myself for my own budget. But if it's like a really beautiful multi-use product that's not super balmy, that's like inky and pigmented and works, ooh, those 3 shades on the top. I mean, I would probably just pick one, probably the one in the middle or the one all the way on the left. It makes me want to buy it, like not for review, but like with my budget, like makes me want it. It is saying my name. It's saying to me, Hannah Louise Poston. What is this? These Kylie Skin balms that are pastel. They're not pastel colored, are they? They're just the packaging's pastel. Like what is this, like a pastel purple balm? I don't think the balms themselves are. Probably the colors just indicate what flavor each one is, right? I kind of like the idea of a pastel. No, it would look disgusting. I like the idea of right now in this moment, looking at this Kylie advertising, I'm liking the idea of like pastel, a very, very pale pastel purple lip. Although I think it would make your teeth look really yellow. What is this? Oh, MAC, the Botanic Panic. MAC, who have you hired? Do you hire a poet? I'm not obsessed with that, but I'm also not mad at it. It's kind of tickling my funny bone. I like this. I want to dupe the vibes of this. I'm interested in these pastels right now. The trend has like finally infested me, the pastel trend. And I just feel like MAC is doing it pretty well. It's not anything revolutionary because everyone's doing it, but they're doing it pretty well. They've called it the Botanic Panic. They've got some blues and pastel purples, but then they've got some strong yellows holding it down. They have, speaking of, remember right before I started talking about this, I was saying I'm into the idea of a pastel purple lipstick. In this range of relatively neutral lipsticks, they have one pastel purple. Weird. This is the second hot takes in a row where MAC has done something that's impressed me. The first one was the packaging of the Cruella de Vil collection. Is MAC back? Okay, I saw this and I was like, no. And then I looked at it for 2 more seconds and I was like, yes. It's an acne fighting putty primer, or an acne fighting version of the putty primer from e.l.f. It has salicylic acid in it, which for me right now at this moment doesn't make that much sense because I'm using Curology and there's like retinol in my formula. So I've really simplified my skincare routine. And so it's not the moment for me to like jump on the salicylic acid primer, but salicylic acid is effective on blemished skin. And so it's a good ingredient to include in something if you're calling it if that's the premise of calling it an acne fighting primer, then yeah. But the thing that they've done right with this is that they've made it green. It's a green primer. And people who are dealing with blemished skin, I feel like everybody should be trying green color corrector out there. It works wonders. So I will definitely follow its future career with interest. I could also even maybe I should review it, even though I probably won't like use it over the long term because of what else I'm doing with my skin. So I wouldn't be reviewing its capacity to like fight blemishes, but I could review it to see how the green works. If I see it in store, I'll probably snag it. Just for review though, obviously if I wasn't on YouTube, I wouldn't be trying it because I wouldn't be combining it with the other skincare that I'm doing. I'm interested in that for the purposes of review. What is this? Is this Spectrum is that brush brand, right? Yes, it's the same thing, the same brand. So Spectrum has been popping up in hot takes videos for a while because they do things like make Little Mermaid brush sets, and then I talk about them. Or they did that beautiful collection of olive colored brushes with Katie Jane Hughes, and I talked about them. And now they've come out with makeup. Either they didn't have makeup before, or this is the first time that they're like really splashing it out, you know? And it does look very shiny and compelling. Cream blushes, shocking. But the colors are totally predictable and at this point kind of boring to me. A mascara, the Glowful Mist and the Glowful Primer. The mist, no thank you, but the primer looks, no, it all looks a little bit boring to me. I do like the very shiny packaging though. They've done a good job. I'm kind of curious to see where it will go from here. I think I have to go. I think it's time for me to hop on baby duty. I think that I hear the dulcet tones of the baby's voice, and that means that it's time for me to wrap this up. Let me just quickly scan and see if there's anything else that I definitely need to give my hot take about before I go. I'm seeing that not Elf, but the purple MAC lipstick is called Forget Me Naughty. And also that seeing it swatched on the lips is making me remember that I have that exact color in the NARS Soft Matte Velvet Lip Pencil, which is the shade Pussy Control. So maybe I'll wear it the next time I film. Natasha Denona Puff Paint for the cheeks. I feel like I should give my hot take about that. Yes, this is the kind of thing that would interest me because Natasha Denona is luxury. I traditionally like her products. It's a liquid blush. Although I really like a cream blush in a pan where you can dip your brush in, and this isn't that. And then it has this tan color, which is like a neutrally bronzy. But scrolling through the swatch of it looks very orange. It's like that orangey bronze. That turns me off completely. So I actually have no interest in trying that product. And yeah, I think that that's everything of note, except that some of you have been asking me about the Lisa Eldridge collection. It finally launched. It was right when I was home visiting my family and I completely missed it. And I didn't manage to snag a blush for review. So I'm not gonna be able to review the blush, but I will review a couple of the other products that she newly launched. I decided to go ahead and do that. So update on that for my last hot takes video. And that is going to be it. That was my shallow moralizing, my completely unprepared statements, little research, little knowledge, and actually not very much thought this time. Although I feel like I made some good points. You know, I made some point. I at least made some points. I feel like what happened over this past half hour was that I made some points. And I'm really grateful to you for spending this time with me. And I very, very much hope that you are remembering to take good care of yourself, extra good care, because that's what'll make you the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.